You think you've got my number figured out? A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. Don't box I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome, everybody. Man, the whiplash. The whiplash of news, folks, has been unreal. We'll try to get through as much as this possible. I got to get out of here pretty, more or less, on time. Welcome, everybody. Michael Hassler, Invest in Leeches. Nadia, welcome. Derry Bennett, John Lithium, Beery, the Antifa, Super Soldier, Quad Bennett, Ladybug, welcome, everybody. Yes, Jimmy Kimmel is returning. Look, this is good news, by the way. This is fantastic news. This is fantastic news. Regardless of what your feelings are on Jimmy Kimmel, the heart of the nature was an issue of free speech and how this administration has encroached on free speech little by little, up to and including using the FCC to pressure, whoever owns Paramount. I think it was Disney or whoever, the big company, Sinclair, if I remember correctly, Sinclair, to take someone the administration didn't like off the air. And they did it. Now, obviously, this led to a massive backlash and a massive cancellation of subscriptions for any Disney-related company or Sinclair-related company or whatever. Fast forward to a couple of days, and now, today, after seeing that it is not economically sound to do that, they have decided to reverse their role, and Jimmy Kimmel will be back on Tuesday, tomorrow. Carpet Packs, welcome. Hey, folks. If you have a second, go check out twitch.tv/carpetpacks. Welcome, welcome. It is good news. It's great news. It means that it means that there is some pushback happening. And that's what you have to do to stand up to bullies. Collective action, folks. Le Monde and Francis 24 sent news notifications earlier tonight that France had recognized Palestinian statehood. Nice. That's got to count for something. All right, folks, let's get started. Thank you all for being here. If you want to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing so. Check out the merch store, hit the exclamation mark tip, Substack, do all the things, folks. Join the Discord. Join the Discord, folks. I'm indifferent. I haven't watched cable TV in 8 years and was never invested in any of the late night talk shows. Oh no, it's not about liking Jimmy Kimmel or anything like that. It's not really about Jimmy Kimmel. It's more like it's more like government putting pressure on companies to censor stuff that they don't like, and companies acquiescing. That's the conversation. I mean, I don't watch late night that much, to be honest, either. So yeah. Trump's parents told parents not to give babies Tylenol. Lawsuit incoming, not part of the data they got. Trump giving medical advice. Yep, we're gonna talk about that. That's Trump the doctor. Yeah, we're gonna definitely talk about that. That one's phenomenal stuff happening in the U.S. of A. Trump the doctor. The villains here are the corporations and Trump administration for sure. Yeah. Like that's exactly that's the conversation. It's not like, it's not really about Jimmy Kimmel more than it is about the issue of free speech, the issue of the Trump administration putting pressure not just on cable news, but not just on cable companies for against late night comedians, but also about the administration's increasingly hostile behavior towards media as well, and attempts to censor people, attempts to put pressure on companies to fire people over comments, things like that. It's not like I've had this conversation earlier, where someone brought up the fact that like a lot of maggots are trying to say that but in 20 whatever Jimmy Kimmel said that it was fine that Roseanne got canceled. So this is just everything coming around. It's like, no, the difference between Roseanne getting canceled is because she said some racist, hateful shit. And people didn't like that. It is very, very different that ABC or who I don't know who canceled Roseanne, but it is very different from that company canceling Roseanne after public backlash than a government coming in and stepping in and using the authority under the FCC to shape the media landscape. Was she canceled by the FCC? Exactly. So that's the kind of stuff that they failed to recognize, or maybe just be dishonest about it. But in any case, yeah, it's about Trump's vendettas and the capitulation. He's about concentration camps. So yep. Welcome, dude. I started boycotting TV in summer of '91 because of nose cam footage from cruise missiles being effectively snuff films broadcast society-wide on TV. Yeesh. I don't blame you. Oh man, wow, the clown started early today. Don't like the whole government stepping in with Kimmel, but just checking for double standards. Can a company choose who they want to do business with or not? Yeah? Did you think that was a gotcha? I'm confused. Like, did you think that this was a gotcha? I'm confused. ABC didn't want to upset him because they thought they want the FCC to approve an antitrust breaking law that would give them 80% monopoly in the industry. Yep. It's a question, dude. How rude. You wouldn't be asking this if you were listening to the point that I was making. How do you do, fellow clowns? They attempted to step in, but apparently the parent company decided actually placating the Trump administration wasn't as profitable as walking it back. Yep. Not at all. It's a question. Don't be so sensitive and defensive. After all the pushback canceling various Disney product subs, mostly from what I hear, they saw and actually cared about, so private property once again proven reigned supreme. Yeah. They walked that back real quick. until and unless the Trump administration decides to apply a more forcible application of state power to coerce this result. Correct. I mean, other than that, like, money rules, right? So Life, welcome. Yeah, just asking questions, right? Like, it's such a, that this is such a silly clown. Probably a troll, I imagine. You wouldn't be asking, like, what is the point of asking about a double standard if the core problem, if the core problem is about government overreach, why would you pose a question about why would you pose a question about whether or not a company can choose who they want to do business with? Of course they can. They've always been able to do that. It baffles the mind, unless like you want to bring out some kind of gotcha. Unless you thought that was a gotcha, I guess. Cash rules everything around me. Dollar bill, y'all. Welcome, Heat. How's it going? Yeah, just in time. I mean, like, the show been lurking because we're still doing school. I getcha. Well, I appreciate it. Happy to say we're done now. Awesome. They actually don't appreciate the distinction. Yeah. The core problem is the capitalist class power, not government overreach. I mean, yeah, but like the government, like right now, to an extent, we have like this exercise between the capital class and the government, kind of, pushing and pulling, right? Whereas the government tries to levy its state power on the corporation, and the corporation found out that it wants money more. So that kind of push and pull is what we're talking about. Especially when it comes to like the government trying to tell corporations what to say, specifically when it comes to media. The gotcha is if the company is deciding who they do business with based on a protected class of people. Ha. The rhetoric has proven they don't appreciate the present legal distinction. Criticisms of it, one might aside between a government act and a private party. Yep. Anyways, yeah. So the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was actually canceled was because the government stepped in and attempted to, exercise that force. Of course, then came the public backlash, and now he's back. The rhetoric has proven they don't appreciate the present legal distinction. Criticisms of it might aside between a private act and between a government act and a private party. Although I will say, to the extent that a genuine confusion, which I don't doubt in many cases it is, kind of belies a concession to a Marxist analysis that in fact there's not much meaningful difference between vastly concentrated power in the government hands and vastly concentrated power into private hands. Yep. It's dictatorship functionally for all the rest of us either way. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. I get that. Welcome to the reality communists observed and have been trying to center politically since the 1800s. Yeah, no, I get that. Welcome to, yes, there are only 5 media companies now. Yep. Karkenstein's Monster, welcome. I hate that he capitulated. A government is more like a position or role to be occupied than a group of factions in itself with any sort of independent agency. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we've kind of reached that kind of end game. 100% he was censored unconstitutionally. Anyone that thinks different is a minimum of bootlicker trying to keep their mask in place. Yeah, I mean, like, again, that's the core issue of, like, the state power trying to fight, with the corporate power and try to exert its authority. That's the core problem here. It's a First Amendment issue, like an actual free speech issue, right? Not being fired because you were a racist piece of crap and your company found out. Okay, it's the government, putting pressure. It's the same thing like when the Trump administration put out a statement saying, like, oh, if you see people saying, nasty stuff about the guy, if you see nasty stuff written on social media, find these people and report them to their jobs, right? Like that is the government saying, and the government going out of its way to encourage that behavior. It's not like a bunch of people that got together and privately, like, oh, hey, that guy's saying some horrible stuff. It's different. It's different. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I'm over here. Yeah, exactly. It's a First Amendment issue, fundamentally. And the fact that the government has... I mean, honestly, like, I have never seen, like, besides, like, the heavy-handed censorious methods that were deployed in after 9/11. I have not seen such a heavy-handed response by the government like that. Truly chilling. A government so small it monitors what everyone says all the time. Yep, the party of small government. Dictatorships Marx went on about were effectively occupancy of the position of state authority, especially as they relate to class. And on one of these days, I gotta read the Thomas Piketty book, and maybe take on Das Kapital. That thing looks dense. That thing looks dense. I've got it. Just been too scared to read it. There are 3 volumes. Yeah, and I just have one. I just have one. Each over 35 hours long on audiobook. Yeah, I probably want a guide with that read. Yep. What about the Biden administration telling Facebook that its users shouldn't be telling each other to inject bleach on their bodies? Checkmate, liberal. Nice. Nice one. I've listened to 2. Oof. That is a journey in and of itself. Have you read David Harvey's Reading Capital lecture series? No, but if it's on YouTube, I can find it. If it's on YouTube, I can find it. I'm going to read it. You have an economics background. You have an economics background. You'll probably be all right. Second half of volume 1 is where it gets interesting and informative. Gotcha. I'll have my economics background person help me out with it too. It is on YouTube. Okay, then this should be easy enough to find.
Idea of living in an authoritarian state, so many people, I believe, out there are like, well, yeah, it does feel like that now, but it's not going to last. And I sort of feel like that is
nice. I minored in economics for the sake of game theory. The window into the past and the conditions of labor and the labor movement at the time is fascinating.
A problem. Because, like, even if we assume that the Republicans don't manage to gerrymander away a Democratic control of the House, which, I mean, frankly, it's a real...
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea to kind of take a trip back in time because it all seems to be circling back. So all like these movements from back then, it'd be great. This is a great opportunity to kind of go back in time and see things because we're seeing things that we are experiencing right now. I'm busy reading all of Sal at the moment. He said, "Yeah, brother, I gotta fight." Well, I respect that because I respect that because it can't be me,
folks.
I can't read Thomas Sowell like that. Yeah, more power to Godspeed, doing the Lord's work.
Does not seem to be much of a limiting, like a device to limit what Trump attempts to do. A lot of what he's attempting to do, they've sort of found a successful a mechanism to do what he wants to do, and that is basically lording government services and government functions over the various entities that make this.
I tagged you on Discord with the link to David Harvey's channel. Nice. Thank you. We just finished Days of Shattered Fate this morning. Go back time to when, according to whose history? Well, it depends, right? Like, for example, I think studying Nazi Germany right now would be a pretty good point in history to go back to. And kind of see the same cycle. I mean, it's not exactly 100%, but I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned by going back in time and studying Nazi Germany, for example. Studying Marxist critiques of capitalism probably serves us a lot of good purpose now, as capitalism is well in decline. I think it would be probably a good idea to understand, for example, the criticisms and critiques of capitalism that Marx had. We're still in 1932, but about to get into 33. Fantastic. And Victorian era England and America. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of even history points from America are a good also good spots to visit. You know, like right before the Great Depression. 20th century history is heavily disputed between Western and Marxist USSR historiographies. Yeah, but I think there's like some core kind of stuff, right? Like you can look up like what Nazi Germany was. I think we'd get a pretty nice clear picture of like kind of what we're seeing now, as a reference point, if that makes sense. We can also just, I don't know, read what Marx wrote about criticizing capitalism as we're watching this whole thing kind of just unravel in real time. Lots of lessons. We can kind of go back to the United States history before the Great Depression. What about the genocide of indigenous people? How far is the American government willing to go? Well, we've seen how far they've been willing to go. We can visit the points in history, like, for example, the Japanese internment camps. Stuff like that.
Decisions in our society. And we saw this in the case of Jimmy Kimmel and others. We see it in the case of Mahmoud Khalil, who may be deported to some random country because of his involvement with, frankly, between Colombia and pro-Palestinian protesters and supporters. But, you know, the time to worry about authoritarianism existing longer than you think it's just like as if it was going to automatically expire. The time to worry about this, I mean, frankly, was probably 6 months ago, 10 months ago. ago, a year or two ago, maybe 10 years ago, but we're there now. This is what it feels like. Where
Right.
Right, like exactly like what happened the last time the U.S. did tariffs, at which incidentally we're doing even worse. And what happened afterwards? Yeah, were we kidding? We still have indigenous reservations, land back. Yep. There's multiple historiographies out there other than broadly different accounts of the courses of events. These historiographies don't agree to the extent you seem to think. Yeah, but I'm saying like there's kind of some like timeline of what happened, right? Like there's nothing to dispute between like when, for example, when Hitler came to power, what parties what parties were involved. At what point did Hitler take over the Nazi Party and turned it into, what it is? How quickly did it take? What laws did Germany pass, like the Enabling Act, things like that? I'm saying like objective stuff that happened, not the characterization of the events. I'm talking about like the events themselves, not the characterization of one side or the other. Matt, we could also listen to the experts on Nazi Germany when they make comparisons to current state of U.S. government. I have no time for reading. No, I get you. Thursday after Kimmel. Yeah, that's when the rapture is going to happen. Who knows? I mean, we can phone in Jesus. We can phone in Jesus Christ and have him give his take on it. Yeah, Thursday after Kimmel. There you go. Should we throw our hands up, or can we try and find a common thread? The 24th. No, it's 2 days from now. The different historiographies have various events that one side said happened and the other said didn't happen at all. The Holodomor of the Ukraine is in one case of this. Yeah, but like, I mean, there's evidence. There's evidence of stuff happening. Right? It doesn't matter what one side said, it's like, well, did the Nazis come into power? Yes. I don't care what one side said. The Nazis came into power. How did the Nazis come into power? Well, there are several events, right? What were those events? One of them was the Reichstag fire, right? One of those events was Hitler taking over the party when that happened. How was the SS formed? Who formed the original SA? A good example is the current genocide in Gaza. One says it's not, but it still is. Right, yeah, exactly, right? Like, you can say that the genocide in Gaza isn't happening, but it is. We can see it. There's evidence of it. Nazis in the Nuremberg trials repeatedly claimed they were inspired by U.S. laws and made references to a specific case that justified forced sterilization by the state. Yeah, in fact, we can point to it. It's very, like, if there's anything that the Germans did, it was keep records. They were inspired by Jim Crow laws and manifest destiny concepts of the United States. That's what I mean by studying history, about like what events happened, what people, were doing at that time. Hitler's American model details a great deal of this. Yes.
People are self-censoring, where people are afraid, where people, you have trans folks who are like, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the country because my literal health and life and liberty is in already concrete terms, not just threatened, but in fact impaired. Down the road, those threats are there. Down the road, it could be even worse. And it's also the case for a whole cohort of people. I don't know if you got that video too, Brian, I put in about that 80-year-old. Maybe you guys played that.
Yeah, it's in there.
Okay. I mean, we are living in an authoritarian society now. That's not hyperbole. It is just simply the case. Now, are there ranges within that authoritarianism? Of course. but we have crossed the threshold.
Yep.
When people are afraid, and we're talking about the law firms, we're talking about the universities, we're talking about corporations.
Yeah, and I think that people need to realize this, right? Like, I don't think enough people realize this. Like, this isn't like hyperbole. Like, we are living in an authoritarian state. Just because it's not like how you pictured it in some, like, I don't know, movie, you know, or book, it doesn't mean that we don't live in an authoritarian state. And if anything, now would be the time to stand up. Right now would be the time to stand up. Now is the time. Sadly, I think you're right, ADT. Yeah, I think the collective assessment, of the left, I think is pretty correct, for the most part. We already were, yeah, but I mean like this, you know, it's kind of like the difference between being put in check and checkmate. It's not looking great, you know. It's not looking great. I think there's a sense that there's a common set of facts or evidence that either vanish with the passage of time or is inaccessible in practical terms. I mean, sure, there's lots of that that gets lost. I get that. We get weaker by the day. Like that's kind of like the way I describe it, right? Like there's a difference between like getting put in check and then like checkmate. It looks pretty bad. It looks pretty bad. We get weaker by the day. I think so, little by little.
We're talking about individuals where the vice president of the United States gets on a radio show and says, go get people fired.
Yep. For
not showing enough deference to someone associated with the administration. I'm sorry. That's what authoritarianism is.
And you know, I've been thinking a bit about how leadership and folks in power have an effect on the rest of society. I mean, we've lived under Trump, this specter over our politics for around 10 years at this point. And it's not just Trump. I mean, it's obviously what we're seeing with Israel committing genocide, even Russia taking the opportunity to invade Ukraine, where there is a complete breakdown enabled by the failures of liberalism economically, in the liberal international order as well, in which might makes right, and that comes home to us eventually. And it also is interesting to me how the nation's like almost character and the way it interacts with the world is reflected too in what you're describing, this people not being able to fully contemplate this happening to us. So that's what happens in other countries. That's maybe what we do to other countries.
Yep.
But that can't come home to us. And the other leadership that has enabled this is the Democratic Party, that has not met the moment in any capacity, that has capitulated over and over again to this. And that level of weakness also has an effect and doesn't give people the oxygen to resist in the way that they were doing in 2016 post, right? Like, for all of our issues about the resistance and, hey, I thought there was too much focus on Russia, less focus on material issues. There was some people being cringe, God forbid, whatever. I would love for some more earnestness back in our society once again.
Trump was a manifest, with confabulatory tendencies even prior to his first term. The way I put it is that the condor has come home to roost, alluding to Operation Condor.
That showed the...
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm talking about, like, where... What I mean by checkmate is, like, is like we no longer have anything, like there's nothing that we no longer can do, and that's just simply not the case right now. As of right now, there is still, we're still we're still allowed to be against the regime. We're still allowed to speak up against the regime. We're still, in fact, there's protests being organized in a couple weeks. So as long as that's able to continue, then there's outs. Fascism is what capitalism does when threatened by calls for social equity. It was always upheld by authoritarianism. Now it's admitting it. Yeah, I mean, capitalism is inherently authoritarian, right? Inevitably, it devolves into what we see here. I would say probably because of the inequality that capitalism creates, because capitalism creates inequality. Like that is the feature of capitalism. It's designed to create inequality. Eventually, that inequality spirals out of control because greed, right? And you have these oligarch class of millionaires or billionaires, I guess now at the time, in this day and age, of billionaires who just want more and increase that inequality by the day, and eventually that kind of unravels and leads us down the path that we are seeing. They've been assassinated, disappearing people back to before useful records to be able to tell whether it was happening started getting created. I mean, I know that a lot of dark stuff happened. In fact, I'm pretty sure you've mentioned COINTELPRO. I know a lot of like dark stuff happened. I mean, like I'm saying, like, now to the extent that we can still speak up against the regime right now. As of the time of this recording, we can still speak up against the Trump regime. As of the time of this recording, we can still organize and protest. Sure, we'll be met with state violence, but we can still do it. And until we can't, it's not over. That's inevitable. We're entering the age of the pocket guillotine.
We did limit him the first time to a degree. I mean, he did a lot of damage, but the leadership from Democrats fighting him on everything had an impact.
I mean, part of that also was just that they weren't as prepared to do what they're doing as they are this time. I mean, Project 2025, incidentally,
if I may interrupt Sam, where he's going with this. I think, if I may respectfully disagree with Emma for a bit, for just a moment. I think that it was more a product of the fact that there was still some kind of semblance of notion of like institutional, integrity, more than it was the Democrats really fighting hard. I mean, I'm sure, like, some were, and they did do some things to try to kind of stonewall him. They did impeach him twice. So yeah, like, they did do stuff. I'm just saying that it's not, we can't also exclude the fact that, like, during the first Trump administration, there was still some semblance of like institutional integrity that doesn't exist now. For example, like, you in the first administration, like, he literally wanted a shoehorned deputy attorney general to get out there and make a public statement about the election integrity and say that it was nonsense, and we had to kind of take a second to recount or look into or investigate the results of the election. Just say it on TV, not mean it, because there's nothing that you could do. But put that out there. So yeah, I mean, like, the now, which didn't materialize during the first time. Now he could get any yes guy to come up and say, yeah, the election was stolen in 2026 in the midterms. Whereas, it just didn't exist in the first term. It was more Trump tripping over himself. It was more the fascist the fascist flank not being able to kind of move like they wanted to this time. This time they've got all the roads clear, or at least more clear than they did in the first time. They brought out everything. It's a mental illness being greedy and being a billionaire. Trump was just on TV saying he wants half the country to be miserable, harmed, happy, unwell. Yeah, we'll play a clip after this.
Chair wrote the communication section on in Project 2025. A lot of this stuff is part of that playbook. So the Trump and his minions are far more prepared this time around to run this playbook. But it is the case. And we'll play a clip from Chuck Schumer where he's starting to show at least setting the table maybe for a government shutdown. But understand, he enabled this. He is 8 months too late on this. And even still, he's out there, bemoaning Jimmy Kimmel getting fired, bemoaning the actions of the FCC chair. But up until days ago was, and maybe still is, 100% earnestly trying to figure out some type of fig leaf deal that Republicans would sign on to, that he could pretend like he got something so that he could fund this government that is doing all these bad things that he's talking about. Right? I mean, like, it is a completely, and even still, and we will give him a modicum of credit for at least, like, maybe setting the table for a government shutdown.
I mean, like, how bad is it that this is like where we're at? We're actually kind of giving a small applause to Chuck Schumer for thinking about the idea that perhaps he should shut down the very government that is doing all these bad things. I mean, like, that's the state of the situation here. Fantastic.
But still, the framing of it is still just sort of like they're living in 1995.
How about the optics of being somebody who had his statement on Mahmoud Khalil's detention was very mealy-mouthed.
All right, so it looks like the OBS kicked me off the stream, so I'll give it a second. Well, we see you now. All right. Yeah, give it a second, folks. OBS is being OBS. It knocked me off. It knocked the stream off. Can you believe it? We're back. Anyways, so yeah, like, it's not just like a First Amendment issue. It's also like a labor issue, right? Jimmy Kimmel isn't Jimmy Kimmel. It's just he's got a whole crew, you know?
Does the Democratic Party, it doesn't help their disconnect from the average voter when this is when he decides to basically take a stand here, and not the people that were being punished for their speech in the first 9 months of this administration. Or
even the last administration.
Right.
Like, this McCarthyite period started under the Democrats.
Look, the fact is that the entire hysteria, and I'm not saying that there is an anti-Semitism in our society. I've experienced it as a child. I've experienced it as an adult. It exists. I have a long list, but
did you hear 7 for 7 taking off? Nope. It wasn't STD Live on air. Nope. Also, the restaurant and businesses around the studio, folks come into that area for the show. Yep. Every single time he logs on Twitter. John Kennedy is something else.
The hysteria as a way of trying to silence protest about what Israel is doing and ginning up the anti-Semitism, that set up everything that happened in terms of Trump going after these universities. That set up everything that Trump did in terms of going after these law firms. That has been used now as and it's ironic in many respects, but it has been used on Khalil, used on a graduate student who's just writing an op-ed in Massachusetts.
Yep.
I mean, on and on. And once it is used under the cover of anti-Semitism, suddenly that tool, people are very, very comfortable swinging that hammer around in other contexts. So, I mean, so much. I mean, and to the point where, like, he funds the government. And I do mean Chuck Schumer funded the government because it was his, group of 7 senators that broke the filibuster. He funds the government, and just like as if to just sort of illustrate what we're talking about, because he's got to go out on book tour for his book about anti-Semitism.
Pro-Israel, his number one job, according to him.
Yep. And so all of this is tied in. But the point being, we're at a point now where there's 2 things that are clear. Or I should say, one.
You see some of the representatives, it's like, who would vote? Oh my goodness, there's a little hummingbird that just came by the window and said hello. That's adorable. You see some of the representatives and it's like, who would vote for them? Yeah, we have a lot of representatives like that. All right, I'm back. Well, me too.
Thing is clear. We're living within an authoritarian. Our country is under authoritarian rule.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean it can't get a lot worse. It surely can. But things aren't trending in the right way. And so there's really, like, two things we have to do simultaneously. One is we have to fight that authoritarianism.
Organize.
And there's a whole myriad ways of doing that. Starting with, like,
protesting.
Expand your social circle. Organize. Just like you're not doing anything like directly, but you are building the relationships because, Sam Harris once called me or said my behavior was psychopathic because we were going after a Dave Rubin like he was the wounded elk or something like that.
It was the wounded antelope. I remember this. I remember this. That's a symptom of lack of democracy. Yep. It's getting pretty bad already. It is. Supposedly representative government, yet continuously the only thing voters broadly agree on is all the people that seem to somehow be the only kind of people that end up on the ballot or dog shit that doesn't represent them well, if at all. Very healthy stuff happening. A very normal and hinged country. Not an insult coming from Harris.
Like this, or caribou. And
wounded antelope according to Rogan.
Antelope.
Yeah, antelope. See, I remember.
Right. And the idea being, we pull apart the IDW folks one person at a time. And there was definitely, we weren't that, I think, calculating about it, but that's how it's done. If you can find people who are isolated, much easier to take them out. If the administration can show that they can take out Jimmy Kimmel, he'll be fine. Then it sends a message to everybody else that you are much more vulnerable. So organizing either in the context of your workplace, in your apartment building, just in your neighborhood, amongst your friends, that's really important. Standing up in situations like ICE, protecting vulnerable people in your community.
Yep, a thing I've said, especially after what happened. And of course, it must be insisted it's all dysfunctional, and just because it's not also difficult, not an actual conspiracy, more or less in effect, if not actual intentional planning, literal definition, although we also have evidence it's no infrequent that two, as when they literally collude to say raise prices jointly by the wealthy, because honesty is a luxury the criminal ruling class simply cannot afford, so here we are. I've been spreading my radical ideas with the nerds at Commander Night. Nice! Nice. I gotta find my Commander. I mean, like, I'm personally not a big fan of Commander, but it's become so popular. It's become so popular that I've had to kind of not, I can't ignore it anymore. So I've caved and built my own Commander deck. So I definitely have to find like a place to go play Commander. I'm a big fan. See, I've played Magic the Gathering for quite a minute, and I'm a big fan of Modern. Modern is my format. That's the format that I've played the most, besides just casual hangout. That's where I'm most comfortable. But yeah, Commander has exploded recently, and I kind of had to, adapt. Release the list. I played MTG in the 90s. Nice. Nobody really plays Standard around here. They don't do Friday Night Magic. I mean, like, Standard also is like one of those things I'm not really a big fan of. Not a big fan of Standard, but Modern seems to me, because like I can use a lot of the cards that I've collected over the years and whatnot. So Modern is where I'm at. I've even played some Legacy events back in the day. And those get rough. Some of those cards are just incredibly powerful.
Immigrants, trans folk, whomever it is, that's important. Standing up to authoritarianism when you see it sends a message to other people that it's doable. And then the other half of what needs to be done is we need to have a political leadership that addresses the moment and has the ability and the competence to do so. And we don't have that. So, it may seem inconsistent.
Yeah, it's the best part. You don't have to keep up tired with Hasbro anyways. Yeah, you don't have to. Exactly. Like, I think the latest stuff I've done is mostly related to artwork, because I love the different land art. So I like to collect them, but that's about it. Pro tip, have a tub of cookie dough in your fridge to make hot gooey cookies on the fly. Oof. Can they be like chocolate chip cookies? Because if not, if they're chocolate chip cookies, I'm ready. You can ship some my way. Are we gonna actually get Disney canceled now? I mean, it worked. Kimmel's back. A lot of people putting financial pressure on Disney and all the parent corporations of Sinclair and whatnot worked. I collect lands as well. Yep, that's kind of my deal. It's just art. It's just art. The artwork is what really does it for me. Looney Tunes, why in the hell would ABC go against me and put that loser Jimmy Kimmel back on the air? They are too woke to listen to me. Cancel Disney now. Oh my god. Both lefties and righties are hating on them. Yeah, and they can't afford that. For different reasons, of course. But still. Yes, they are. Oof. Chocolate chip cookies. Amazing. They're probably a bunch of FBI agents like the CPUSA Communist Party was. 2/3 FBI agents in the 50s. Really? My god. I mean, like, I haven't kept up much with, like, whatever the Communist Party, organization, the CPUSA, is doing lately, but yeah.
To both say, we've got to
I was sad I couldn't cancel my sub because I already canceled it months ago. Nice.
develop some type of social cohesion to push back against the authoritarianism.
You did pre solidarity, okay? Pre solidarity act or pre praxis. There you go. I was going to say pre solidarity action, but yeah. Nextstar's stock is down. Yep.
On one hand, and on the other hand, be critical of political leaders who fail to meet the moment, even though ostensibly they are on our side in the sense that they're most likely to be the vehicle for our set of policies that we want. But you need competence, right? I mean, that's important.
And not being corrupted. I mean, how do you create more competent democratic leadership? You make them more responsive to the democratic will of the people, right? And that's what the critique. I think a lot of people are coming around to this notion that it's not about criticizing Democrats for clicks or for the sake
I'm
of.
saying the Democratic Party is now a mass infiltrated like the CPUSA in the 50s, to be clear. But Sinclair's stock is up, probably because they put Kimmel back. So yeah, I imagine, or unless this was like a trend already. No, I mean, I don't know about like the Democratic Party being controlled by the FBI. And it's just Occam's razor, right? Like it's just captured. It's just captured by money.
Oh, it's because there's a
Like you no longer have to do what you had. You no longer have to do things like you did. Well, first of all, like the Democratic Party is not really a subversive organization. It's not really a subversive organization that needs to be infiltrated. It just needs to be captured with money.
Recognition amongst folks like us that the Democratic Party at this moment in history is the party that in our two-party system that has to get elected to combat this. But we can't just elect them for the sake of it because we saw what that looked like, right? It's not durable. It's not long lasting if you just run in opposition to one guy.
You have to cultivate democracy and do things to cultivate it, just like the Republicans do things to cultivate fascism.
And they cultivate it by being responsive to their own base. Because in
yes, and just do politics, man. Like again, this is all under the presumption that like we're operating like under normal circumstances, right? This is all under the presumption that this is all under the presumption that like the Democratic Party actually does want to do things and actually does want to win. And the way you do that is by not just responding to the base, but just doing good politics that do good things. I mean, the formula can't be easier. Just push politics that help people. Push politics that give people stuff like, for example, healthcare. That provide what the government is supposed to provide. Healthcare, education, food, housing. What are you going to do about these issues? Again, this is all operating under the assumption that we're dealing with a party that wants to win, and we're dealing with a party that wants to do stuff. Oh, you froze for a second? Oh, it should be okay. OBS has been acting a bit weird. OBS has been acting a bit weird. It already knocked off my stream.
Era of explosion of dark money, post Citizens United, where everybody knows our politics are undemocratic and they see it on their phones because no one understands why the F this genocide is still going on, for example. And they see our government doing unspeakable things. That's why Epstein is a stand-in for like a level of democratic responsiveness, because people basically feel like this is all they can ask. We have such little civic engagement. Trump has helped kill it, but also a Democratic Party that didn't bring anybody into a
Jesus.
primary process with this last election.
Miss the cost of living stuff.
Miss the cost of living stuff.
Well, that I
and
think is
just
the-
talks around and talks down and tries to manipulate the base from the top and cuts off the over 90% of their base right now that say we don't support what's happening. We don't want to fund Israel anymore. How can you be an opposition party that that has effectiveness when you are not democratic in the smaller, lowercase version of democracy?
It just ends up being a failure. I mean, they specifically told their canvassers, don't send us information as to what voters are saying about Gaza and Israel. Like, that is the point. The point of being a small d Democrat or democratic is because you work more not necessarily efficiently, but better ultimately. But if you are literally saying we're not going to record comments on this.
Are you still talking about the Epstein list? No, but they should release the list.
Major
We all know Trump's in it. Just get it over with. Release the list.
issue because we don't want to know. We know, and so we don't want any proof that we know. And they buried their heads in the sand, and then they missed the ball on the economy. And Trump is also missing the ball on the economy. I think broadly speaking, our society, or at least our media, is missing the ball on the economy. Let's look at this clip number. We're going to get to David Cleon in a few minutes. But here is clip number 10. And this is, this is going to be helpful. This is going to be helpful, hopefully, in the event that there are
Quasi-packed. People are still talking about the Epstein list. That's old news. That's old, everyone. Talk about UFOs now. Please look at the UFOs.
elections in 26 and 28. But this is number 10.
Going to feel that because we do see polling that doesn't poll well in the economy. The recent Fox polling said 52% say the economy is worse under this administration.
This is a Fox poll. This is a Fox poll. And you know what's funny? It's always the 30%, man. It's always the 30% that just can't. It's always this 30%, man. This is so frustrating. Phenomenal. Squirrel! Yeah, it's the cult for you. Yep, that's exactly what I'm getting at. It's exactly what I'm getting at. It's always this 30-ish%, man.
And we've got unemployment at the highest rate in 4 years. Groceries made a big jump in the last term. So how is that? You're looking forward with these plans.
It's not me, it's Biden. This is Biden's economy. If the numbers are good, then that's Trump. Trump can do no wrong. Everyone wants to sit here and late night comedy and hit Trump. That's all they do. They just hit Trump. Fake news poll shows that Trump is suffering from amnesia. That's too many cultists. Yep.
As that you just talked about. When will people feel that, Mr.
Well,
Trump?
when the factories
President Trump?
start opening. I mean, right now we're building them. And, Fox polling, I have to tell you, I've told you before, it's the worst polling I've ever.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, like, reality just bends and warped to his will. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's genuinely amazing how, like, that just happens. Reality just bends and morphs to his will. $5 years ago, I would have put it like at 15 to 20%. The fact that it really seems to be about that 30% mark is consistently it's concerning. Yeah, don't look up how much support Hitler actually had in the Nazi Germany times. It's about 30-ish%. It's about 30-ish%. The polls may be rigged to put that in as a floor. I mean, it seems to be pretty consistent. There'd be a lot of work to have these consistent results over different types of polls too. It's not just the Fox thing. It seems to be a pretty consistent, like, the kind of people that support Trump always is about that. Is about that 30-ish%. Like, sometimes it's a bit lower, like high 20s. Sometimes it's like mid 30s, but it's roughly about like 30-ish that you can reliably put in that, like, Trump cult.
It's always, I mean, during the election, they had me winning by a little bit, not by a
little bit.
massive
I won
amount.
that
And
election.
Pause it.
polling,
You didn't win by a massive amount. You didn't get to 50% in the popular vote.
What? Okay. Bleeding
Somebody's been
from
listening to
everywhere.
Fox polls.
Somebody's been listening
Rupert
to.
Murdoch.
Okay. Viglin polling.
Fake news.
Okay.
worst polling I've ever seen them. And, Fox polling, I have to tell you, I've told you before, it's the worst polling I've ever had. It's always, I mean, during the election, they had me winning by a little bit, not by a massive amount. And Fox polling, I've told Rupert Murdoch, go get yourself a new pollster because he stinks. And this is
Going to feel that.
Did you
Okay.
tell him that in the litigation when you were suing him in court because the Wall Street Journal accurately reported on you signing Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book? What's the status
What?
of that,
What
by
is
the
a
way?
birthday book? I never even
Yeah.
heard of a birthday book.
Epstein who? What? Files? There could be a Trump cult. I banked on that as part of my rationale for fleeing the country. Well, no, I'm pretty well, it's there. You can see it. You don't have to look at polls. You don't have to look at polls. Just talk to some of these people. Like, I don't mean like online. I mean like IRL. I've seen them. I've talked to them. Everybody forgets their history when they're going senile. Oh my God, this is what we're dealing with. Like, you gotta laugh because at the end of the day, I mean, like, this is the most clown level, like, fascist takeover that I've seen. I mean, because, like, it's so bizarre, like, how on one hand we have, like, this buffoon, this demented brain fogged fool, like, just kind of bumbling around, just kind of bumbling around, making decisions and destroying the country, making, like, just outlandish comments, making, like, very obvious false comments, and, like, nothing happens. And yet, like, we have the scary part where they're actually doing very, very authoritarian stuff. It's kind of like, it is very bizarre where we have, like, this almost, like, it's as if we're, like, experiencing a sitcom parodying fascism, but except it's real. Except it's real, and they're very dangerous. I don't know what the hell the polls are. Fox News, nope. Now get yourself a new poll. It's too bad on Trump. Everybody wants to hit Trump.
I'm actually born on a leap
What?
year.
My
He
understanding
does
is
too. It's what the ladies dance on, right?
Birthday
Exactly.
card.
That's probably what Trump knows.
Book?
Who does
Okay.
books?
Now it's a full book. Well, I'm confused. All
Okay,
right,
JR
but
token.
his refusal.
I can't talk to them. They'll beat my face in. Yeah, I get that. My point being is that they exist, and they consistently hit around that percentage of people that exist in the country. Oh, oops. Did I do that? There we go. God's Veiny Pulse, welcome. Been working my ass off at my new home building job.
To
Nice.
accept where the economy is at this point is going to be helpful down the road. The economy itself is not going to be helpful. It's going to be painful for people because it's going to get worse. But here's put up 10A just to give an idea of where his polling is on this. It's bad.
So this is comparing the economy in his first term versus the second term, and you can see he's minus 22 at this point versus
We're doing great.
basically having positive numbers the entire
Fake
time
news!
his first term. He dipped below a little bit towards the beginning of his presidency, but even at the end there with COVID, I mean, I guess there was the subsidies that were coming out at that time.
He's
but,
fallen off a cliff.
but the checks and things like that.
This is his net
magazine-
approval handling of the economy. It is
Fantastic.
minus 22. He's in bad shape.
Good stuff.
But
Good stuff.
here is what's going on with the economy.
This stream is fake news. Trump is a horrible dictator. Yeah, I agree. You can see he really sucks. Yep. Was it like this surreal? Yeah, that's the word, right? Surreal is the word. Is the name of the game of this, right? It seems so obnoxiously stupid, but no less real. Yeah, and the worst part of it is like, it's dangerous. They're incredibly dangerous. They're incredibly dangerous. Like not only are they just like bumbling morons, but most of them are. Some of them are very cold and calculated. But yeah, I mean, like it's surreal watching this. It's like a sitcom parroting fascism, but it's real and like it's hurting a lot of real people. This is basically how my confidence in this country has gone. Meanwhile, a large segment of society just genuinely oblivious or preventing as much. Yep, I mean just genuinely oblivious, whether it be because they're just not interested, whether it be because they can't be, they're literally just trying to survive. Like, who has time to fight fascism when you've got like your second job to put food on the table, right? Are you really a leftist? Is that a real question? I mean, I've only put it like everywhere. The autism thing today made me think about how you need not to understand a lot of things and not have it broken out of MAGA by now. Like, I get that most people don't understand economics, but how do you not have knowledge in any field of way this is all wrong? They don't even know what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, like, no, like, you don't have to be, I'm not, like, expecting people to, like, know, but it kind of, it kind of would behoove you if you would just take a minute and dissect, like, what's happening here. Like, I'm, not everyone, like you said, not everyone's an economics expert, but that doesn't mean you can't take 5 seconds to realize, like, well, for example, what a tariff does, right? Like, I'm not an economics major. But I still took the time to find out, like, how tariffs actually work and functionally, what they actually do, as an example. I want globalization of people. There shouldn't be separated countries in the world. All people united. Nice. Dictators are there to beat the proletariat down so they'll be unable to resist while the wealth is extracted out of them. The economic performance is generally like 70% below global poverty lines. But like sometimes Democrats call themselves leftists, but they're not. I get that. We're all people regardless of difference. I agree. I agree 100% that so much of this stability is so much of this stability of capital. So much of this stability of capitalism. Let's face it, I'm 79 years old and I really don't know how to use social media anymore. This is why I use a team that knows how to use it, except when I type in all caps. That's me. How it can weaponize the very injuries it inflicts upon us to then debilitate our ability to do anything about these injuries. Yep. My pork roll bagel just sucks. Boo. Sorry for the weird punctuation speech to Dex. Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, you know, on one hand you have a bunch of people that simply, you know, I guess they are oblivious. They don't pay attention to politics because, you know, they're just normies. Then there are people who there's another segment of that population that hasn't been activated because they simply can't be. They simply can't be. Waiting for a president to run with their gamer tag. Please, God, no. Please, God, no.
And this this is what the Biden people missed. And you know, we talked about this, but there's now like much more data to support this theory, which is that we have two essentially economies in this country. We have one that exists for rich people, and its numbers
I find it more processing food to be shit. Yep.
obscure what the rest of the country is going through. So here is this. This is clip 11. This is from the BLS. I mean, and there's a story in Bloomberg that
Communism is something I just don't know much about. That's fair.
that outlines this as well. Consumers in the top 10% of income distribution, and this shows essentially like the top 20%. Top 20% and the top, I guess, 4%. The economy is like their spending is just keeps going up and up and up. And it's basically flat for the rest of the 80% of the country. Consumers in the top 10% of the income distribution accounted for 49.2% of total spending in the second quarter. That is the highest since a blip in 1989. Do we have that other graph? I don't think so. Maybe it was
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is.
I do know no economic ideology has actually cured greed. Well, I think that like you can have. It's not about curing greed. It's more about like putting guardrails in place. Communism is really simple. People just paint a grandiose picture of what it is. Yeah, I mean,
See that?
Like it's just a moneyless, classless society.
Yes.
That's based on socialist economics.
Look at where you had about 1/3 of the spending, essentially 1/3 of the economy was a function of the top 10% in income distribution in this country back in 1992. And now it's 50%.
Well, I blame immigrants and trans people.
It's all the rich immigrant and trans people who are up there, you know, pushing up the economy for just them and hiding the fact of what's going on in the 80% of this country. And so when you have 10% of the country providing 50% of the economic activity, when you have 20% providing probably close to 80% of the economic activity, maybe 75% of the economic activity, all of the measures that we have used traditionally to measure the health of the economy give you skewed numbers. Your GDP, whatever it is, it gives you skewed numbers. And, you know, at one point it may catch up, but it certainly destabilizes society, and it certainly makes.
If anyone here is getting raptured tomorrow, please feel free to spend your earthly wealth on the streamer. Can't take it with you. That's right. Okay. Please submit all your earthly possessions to me, your favorite streamer. You can't take it with you, folks. Okay. Who else are you gonna donate it to? The lame stream Twitch streamers?
For
I'll write you a check.
the vast majority of Americans to be unhappy. And the idea that like the Biden administration couldn't figure this out, and now obviously the Trump administration doesn't, I don't even know if they care, is a problem for the bottom line is like,
Yeah, exactly, Eleni. I'm not going nowhere. Oh my goodness. It's always higher than expected too. GDP went up 3%. They only expected 2. Good indicator type stuff. Yeah. Economy is I am assuming a vague concept to begin with. I mean, I don't think so, right? Like, I think that there's pretty measurable. Like, I get what you mean about like economics, right? It's a social science. It's a social crap. What is it considered? Anyways, yeah, I get what you're saying, but like, there's also some very tangible stuff that you can debate because it's all fake in the sense that like money isn't real, but it does have value because we made it so. But it does like it's so they're like I get what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know what a rapture is, anyways. I think communism takes it too far with the materialism because materialism is destroying our society. Thinking soft science. No, I think there's like a specific there's a specific term for it. Is it soft science? I don't know. Jokes on us when the actual communist Jesus takes only the communist. If something can't be explained or simple terms, it's either a law or a very loose concept. That's not true. That's kind of a fallacy. Because there are very true things that are incredibly complex, like trying to explain how how atoms work, right? There's no like how life forms work, how entire ecosystems work. That is a complicated thing to try to sit and explain to somebody how an ecosystem works, how every single little part of that, from the grass that grows on it to the apex or keystone species. I rephrase that: if somebody has a good understanding of it, they can't explain it in simple terms. But that's a completely different thing that you just said. Usually, if they can't explain it in simple terms, they don't have a great understanding of it themselves. That's a completely different thing than what you just said. So yeah, I mean, like, communism is just simply, again, a moneyless, classless society built on socialist economics. Socialist economics means the workers themselves own the means of production. It's really that simple. Soft science usually indicates that you can't form experiments with control groups. Gotcha. But you can with you have like economic models,
You have
right?
80%.
Like, you can do economic models. It's not a soft science. It's something else. It's considered a social science. That's what I was looking for. It's considered a social science. Thank you. Thank you.
Of Americans for whom the economy doesn't work.
It's crazy that, decades of tax cuts.
It's all good,
led
Kirkenstein's monster.
to just a incredibly imbalanced economy and
Wealth
lack of public
inequality.
investment.
This is a wealth inequality story. This is concentrating wealth at the top. And it's incredibly destabilizing, as just a broad, it can lead to things like, I don't know, fascism, authoritarianism, etc.
You can't be like, okay, half the U.S. gets trickled down, half doesn't.
There'll be a little disturbance.
A little.
But
little disturbance.
We're okay with that.
We're
And by
okay
the
with
way-
that.
Much.
Oh, sorry.
All right, we've got to
I
get
forgot
to.
he keeps going. But can I just say, tax cuts, big ugly ass bill. It hasn't even hit yet, which is going to pronounce this situation.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's going to get much, much worse.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I've said this in prior streams as well. Like, talk to any economist. Situation's screwed, man. Situation's bad. Oh, I get you, Eleni, 100%. Life is more than what you can just grab with your hands and see. Like, for example, what is happening in Gaza. I cannot see it, cannot touch, but it still made me cry. Yeah, I get that. Welcome, George Waters. There's a little disturbance, you know.
Licensing too. That's something that should be talked about for licensing too. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is hit Trump.
All they do is hit Trump.
If you go back, I guess they haven't had a conservative on in years or something, somebody said. But when you go back and you take a look, all they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that.
They're not allowed to do that.
The Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that all you want, but yeah. Stay away from Tylenol, apparently. Yeah, no, but for the different reasons. He's saying it causes autism. We're like, Tylenol may have its bad effects, and in fact, like what we should be looking at is like, like if you want to critique Tylenol, like I think one of the best critiques that you can give against Tylenol is that like maybe perhaps like the stuff that is billed as pain relievers don't actually work that well. You could probably hit Tylenol for like false advertising. But like Tylenol Kilpilpilone, that was a different thing though. Like that's a different thing. Yeah, but that was because of a whole other thing. Yeah, like so if you want to actually hit against Tylenol and the actual active ingredient, it's because I would say probably false advertisement. Yeah, so it had they used to test it for lead. Well, no, some were tampered. Some bottles were tampered with poison, but it wasn't like they never. I think they never found the person. They had like a suspect, I think, but like no one was ever really charged. But it wasn't anything like to do with the actual medicine itself, is my point. Is that the brainworm talking? Yeah, the real reason is maybe barely does anything. It's so hard on your liver too. Yep. I like naproxen a lot more because it will actually lessen pain a little bit. And days later, Jimmy Kimmel returns tomorrow after backlash. How even Ted Cruz criticized the FCC chairman Carr's comments about revoking licenses. Yeah, but like coming from Ted Cruz, it really doesn't do me any good. At all. Lucky 7, nice. Good to hear, Kirkenstein's Monster. This month, actually. Oh, another round of applause, then. Another round of applause. So, I mean, I'm sure that most of us were aware that, apparently there was some kind of vigil or campaign rally, really, for Charlie Kirk. And there's really like no point in covering anything, except this, Mark. I mean, like, except this, these remarks, because I think it's very poignant and important to keep pointing out how these people feel about us.
He did not hate his opponents.
Charlie Kirk absolutely hated his opponents.
He wanted the best for them. That's what
He didn't. He wanted his opponents dead. He wanted his opponents to not exist.
opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I
did not.
disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent.
Leftists dehumanizing themselves by cheering on Charlie's death. Normal people see leftists as soulless. I guess that's, I don't know. Did you use ChatGPT? Once leftists at mercy of something to be less sympathy for them. Did you use ChatGPT to write this? I'm confused. My boss called me in the office to tell me not, to make no posts or comments about Charlie Kirk or I'd be fired. That's annoying. Yeah, as opposed to the president saying, picking on people's grammars. I mean, you literally made 0 point there. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I hate my opponent.
I hate my opponents. Yeah, you know what? Like, it's funny that you come in and decide to make a comment like that right after I literally play a clip of the president of the United States saying he hates his opponents. I mean, like, seriously? Like, this is not the gotcha you think it is. So I don't know why you would come in here and come in here with that nonsense. I think everyone hates the opponents at the moment. Let's agree on that. What are you talking about? I think everyone hates the opponents at the moment. Let's agree on that. You mean let's agree on that? What are you talking about? You mean the opponents who denounced this like day one? What are you talking about? Name like all of Democratic leadership and Democratic politicians and anyone in power was denouncing this stuff. And the president of the United States is saying, I hate my opponents. So please spare me with that bullshit. So spare me with that bullshit, man. Until the president of the United States can say the same shit to tone it down, then, like, honestly, who the fuck cares? All right? Like, seriously. Seriously. It is troubling, I bet. I agree with that. Then why did you come in here with that shit? Why did you come in here with that nonsense? You're listening to the president of the United States say shit like this. I mean, seriously, like, what kind of clown logic is this? Please. Like, can you at least try harder? Voice to text with the window open. I just think it's not good for your... What good for my cause? What are you talking about? What good for my cause of what? Against fascism? My cause is against fascism. This is a fascist government. The guy that was killed is a fascist. Okay? And at no point have I ever said that Charlie Kirk should have been killed. At no point. No large leftist channels are saying this. What are you talking about? Just because we don't give a shit about a fascist doesn't mean that we want political violence escalating. Be a polite gentleman at all times. Well, maybe your side should be a polite... Oh, sorry, I'm screaming at the wrong person. Never mind God's veiny pulse. You can ignore me. I'm screaming at the wrong person. I'm getting cringe, not fascist. You're literally... That's a fascist on the screen right there. That's literally a fascist. Like, if you can't see that Donald Trump is a fascist, if you can't see that Charlie Kirk is a fascist, then I can't tell you. I can't help you. I'm sorry. Like, you're just delusional. You're just delusional. Hey, B-Cat. Thank you for the follow, HRDND for life. Nice. All here accusation is no facts. I mean, Charlie Kirk was literally a fascist. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I'm not having this argument. I'm not having this argument. I'm tired. I'm tired, boss. I mean, like, how many times? Like, the guy is literally doing like fascist stuff in front of our face day in and day out. He's talking about how he wants to be president for life. He's talking about how destroying the Constitution. But sure, he's not a fascist. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like, listen to Stephen Miller talk. I don't understand.
But I can't.
Like, clowns will come in here, and just like say stuff. It's wild. It's wild. At home, quietly reading the book on solitude of gripers for years. Let's go, Kirk, because he isn't murderous enough. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just wild, Ace Fram. It's just wild. These people don't even know what fascism is, but they'll deny this administration is fascist to the bitter end. Yeah, because they're playing
Can't stand my
defense.
opponent.
I can't stand my opponent. I ever tell you guys about the time I quoted Charlie Kirk on Dead Domain live stream? Nice. Did you guys ban him? Yeah, this is the troll. We can teach them easily. No. No, we can't. No, we can't. No, we can't. I'm sorry. I've tried this. Maybe 10 years ago, younger me would have agreed with you. 10 years ago, I would have agreed with you. Heck, maybe even 5 years ago, I would have agreed with you. It's not the time. Yeah, the time for teaching is over. Like, this is 2025. Like, I don't have the brain capacity to sit here and like do this kind of stuff. Especially when like you damn well know, like, first of all, half of these people are just trolls, so they're just here to get like a rise out of the streamer. But like, seriously, it's 2025. Like, I think that trying to make this case in the internet is kind of wild. You know, it's a difference if you're having like a discussion between, it's different if you're having a discussion between like family or friends. LNA, that's different between, having a discussion, but like, nah, it's not. It's no, I'm good. Trolls are people too. Ha! They are, but they're very annoying. I teach them with hard facts. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. Like, literally, I bet you anything that if I literally pull up all the clips of Charlie Kirk saying some heinous stuff, right? Like, literally, the first clip that comes to mind is when Charlie Kirk literally told a German student, okay, and mind you, just to be clear. Charlie Kirk is not German. Charlie Kirk does not know German. Charlie Kirk had to Google and had to research what these words meant. Charlie Kirk literally told a German kid, Deutschland über alles. Okay? He does not know German. Charlie Kirk's main language is not German. To tell a German, Deutschland über alles, it can only mean one thing. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the internet. It's difficult to suss things out. And if they ignore data points, they get banned. I can't tell you how many times I've done that song and dance. I can't tell you how many times I've done that song and dance. They don't care. I was right wing and a high school dropout, and I learned that is a very rare thing to see. And that had to come from you. That had to come from you and your desire to maybe perhaps take another worldview. Because like the way the state of things are right now, which by the way, like I 100%, I'm very supportive of that. Very supportive of that. I'm just saying that like the type of people that we're dealing with, it doesn't matter how much facts you can pull out. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like I can literally pull up the clips of Charlie Kirk saying the things that Charlie Kirk said. It wouldn't matter. I've done this song and dance. Does that make sense? Like, I've done this for a long time. I've done this for a very long time. I actually dropped out because school was boring, but I always enjoyed learning. Well, that's different, you see? Ask one of these clowns how much they actually enjoy learning and what the actual purpose of the conversation is. I concluded that Reagan was illegitimate, and his conservative accusation that the USSR was the evil empire was a confession. Love is productive always. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I can agree with that to a point. As someone who lives in a deeply red state, these people have been convinced to ignore their eyes and ears. I've seen some good compilations lately. Oh, like Charlie Kirk quotes. The only people I can't stand are like Zionists. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but you know, it's the lack of critical thinking that does it for me, right? Like, you know, I'm tired. Like, I'm tired of being told that what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing. You get what I'm saying? Like, how is he a fascist?
He did not hate his opponents.
How is he a fascist? How is Charlie Kirk a racist? Like, dude, I'm tired. I'm tired of being told that what I'm seeing is not what I'm seeing. You know? Like, I can't. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Chat, we are in fascism now. Yep. It's not a drill, folks. I concluded that Reagan was illegitimate on Inauguration Day of 81 when detainees were released in a split-screen footage with Reagan being sworn in. These people buy the sauce because Charlie Kirk presents DEI as affirmative action. They're not the same thing. I mean, like, for a lot of different things. But yeah, I mean, Charlie Kirk's main spiel was racism. You have a right to be tired. Yeah, I've done this for a long time, you know. My one goal is to try to get people who are more of the sleep normie types, to try to make them pay attention to what's going on. That's kind of like the goal, right? Is to like try to get as many people to spread the word and try to get as many people on board as possible. I'm at this point not after convincing the right wing. Basically, the right wing is toe the line and say just enough to steer you towards discrimination, but never actually say it out loud. Not anymore. Not anymore. What's scary is the fascists start being mask off when they win. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not anymore. You're right. Not anymore. Yeah, Charlie Kirk's entire media legacy was based on a racist lie. Like, I'm not even kidding. You can look that up. Charlie Kirk's entire media empire was Charlie Kirk's entire media empire was built on a racist lie about how he was replaced by a black woman. I'm not kidding. So yeah. Not just racism, also fracking money. Well, yeah, I mean the funding, yes. But I'm saying like the basis of why his career started is that I probably paid extra for a guaranteed white pilot. I mean, look at Laura Loomer. Yep. She thinks they have already won. I mean, like, they're all acting like they don't have to do other elections for a reason. They're all acting like it's over for a reason. It doesn't mean it is over. I'm just saying they're acting like that way because they feel like they've garnered enough power. They feel like it's GG, but it's not. I'm officially in trouble for saying hate. How stupid can I be? But yeah, they're acting like this. They're acting like they've already won because from their perspective, I mean, let's look at it from their perspective. They kind of have. They've won a lot of ground. Whether they've sealed the deal is another thing. But like by all accounts, they're winning. They've won enough ground to make them to definitely make them feel that way. I mean, they've got the presidency. They cemented the Supreme Court. They've got the House up to this point. They've got the Senate. They were able to shoehorn in the tax cuts for the rich. They were able to cut Medicaid. They were able to do all this bad stuff. They are cracking down on immigration, just like they wanted, or maybe more or less like they wanted. They really want to do more, but whatever. It's good. It's looking good for them. They are on their way, and to try to at least lay the groundwork to possibly try to eliminate the opposition. It won't be long before we start seeing more stronger statements with regards to any political opposition. I mean, like we're a skip and a hop away from seeing like just straight up like Democratic lawmakers being rounded up and arrested. I mean, like we're literally kind of like a skip and a hop away. What Trump voters need is to leave America for a bit, or enough people to wake up and just kind of fight and unite against this, and make them irrelevant, make the Trump force irrelevant, because they are not the majority. They are not the majority. Today was a good day, correct me if I'm wrong, but today was the first time pressure worked. Yeah, and like I'm saying, yeah, I agree. Once you experience the outside of the country, you start to realize the world is bigger than racism. Oh, I agree. I agree. It's just like they have to make those decisions themselves. They could be empowered the rest of our life, judging by the Dems' inability to adapt and learn, and the cheating the right does. Yeah, but it's kind of up to us to keep fighting, regardless of that, until it's GG. Until it's GG, okay? Until it's GG, as long as we can protest, as long as we can get out there, as long as we can organize, as long as we can speak, like I'm doing right now, then it is not over. Despite what the Democrats are doing, or rather, what they're not doing, it doesn't matter. As long as we're able to do these things, as long as we are able to do these things, then it's not over. I think you can make the argument that they're recognizing pushback from radical centrists and trying to close ranks already. In recent history, maybe, but it's always been a tool of the oppressed. Democrats said this was the last election where cooked boys and girls. Maybe not yet. Maybe, but maybe not yet. But things don't look great. That's all I'm saying. Things don't look great. As far as we're recognizing here, this is an authoritarian regime. This is a fascist government. There is no if, and, or buts about it. This is a fascist government. The time to stand up is now. The time to stand up is now. The time for collective organizing is now. If it can work to bring back a failed late night comedian who only hits Trump, if it can work to bring back a late night show, then I feel like maybe if we kind of let's aim a little bigger. They are making big moves, and it's only the first year. I agree with you. My fellow supporters, this difficult truth stream is so woke. I want you to cancel it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. There's still backpacking people. Yep, none of that stopped. But None of that has stopped. But the truth of the matter is, we're still here. We're still here. Hassan Piker is still out there. There's other lefty content creators that are still out there. There's people organizing protests. So yeah, I mean, it's still there. The only benefit to Trump being in office, he somehow makes 1 year feel like 5. Is that a benefit though? I know, right? Once the sun goes, it's time to boogie. I mean, like, if they start rounding up people, like that, and if it start, yeah, knock on wood. If they start rounding up like Democratic lawmakers or like really big left wing voices, like, I don't know, man. That's the cue, folks. That's the cue. My 21-year-old daughter is trans, and I'm worried for her safety with the way the administration is heading. I 100% understand that. That is a valid concern. Shoot, I'm worried about our trans folks. This administration has made them a big target. We have to protect Hassan. Yep. But that would be a good bellwether to see, like, where, you know, how I would declare I would declare things GG if people start getting round up like that, like public figures and politicians. Thank you, Kirkenstein's Monster. Appreciate it. Have fun. On that note, I gotta get out of here myself. It's almost 7:30. Folks, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Even if it's someone like Kyle Klinsky. I mean, he's pretty big. He's got like what, something over 1 million followers. He's a pretty big media figure for the left, TM. So yeah, if he disappears, like, it's yeah, not good. Not good. All right, folks, I gotta get out of here. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all the follows. Yeah, he's pretty big as far as like left-wing media goes. Scary times indeed. If you want to support the channel, he shot up once he reached 1 million. Yeah, he's up there. But even then, I mean, he's big in the left in the left media sphere. But yeah, if people like him start getting rounded up, if people like Hassan, who are very out there, start getting rounded up, if Democratic lawmakers publicly start getting rounded up, I'm not talking about like state lawmakers who are at protests. I'm talking about like they like show up at Congress and, like, I don't know, start rounding up all the lawmakers for the opposition party, the perceived opposition party. Yeah, like bogus charges, whatever. Yeah, like I mean, like, yeah, if they like surround the Capitol or, like, I don't know, block the Senate, and like they just start rounding people up, or we wake up to the news that like the Democratic Party has been considered a domestic, I don't know, treasonous entity, and all these people just like are disappeared, then like, yeah, I mean, that's GG's, everybody. that's the GG's. That's the time to boogie before they start going after everyone at that point. Anyways, I gotta get out of here, folks. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Getting my camper ready. Yeah, they have surrounded the Capitol. So, like I said, you know, if Democratic lawmakers just don't appear anymore, then yeah, that's GG's. That's GG's. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. As always, folks, check the links, do all the things. make sure you keep your passport open as well. They have at least Jawbone outlawing the Dems. Oh, I don't doubt that. They literally call them terrorists. They call them domestic terrorist sympathizers. Like, yeah. Do all the things, folks. All the links, all the stuff. Catch my show tomorrow, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on this space. I got to get out of here, folks. Have a good night. You too. Yeah, unplug. My whole family is set. That's good. Got to have that plan. You know, even if nothing happens, it's always good to kind of keep that in mind. These are difficult. These are difficult times. Yeah, I agree. So life. We're kind of entering that last. We're in the end game now. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, Wednesday or tomorrow at 7 p.m. See ya. I do need to get my passport. Yeah, get everything settled, because once the doors close, that's it. Difficult times indeed. Once the doors close, you know, that's it. I paid $1,000. Yeesh. Nah, do it now while you can, Soul Life. That law hasn't passed. Do it now while you can. Alright, folks, hang tight. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.